FNB house price index year-on-year growth rate has been slowing in recent times. It started the year on about 8.5% growth year-on-year, which means over 12 months from January last year to January this year, it was about 8.5% rise. That has slowed somewhat. It's now 5.4% as at August. And I think that was realistic to expect such a slowing in the growth rate due to the first interest rate hike in January, which possibly just makes a couple of aspirant buyers a little bit more cautious and just takes a little bit of the heat out of the market. It is, however, a very well-balanced market. It's recovered very nicely over the last couple of years with the low interest rate levels, with an economy that has achieved some sort of positive growth following the 2008 and 9 recession. So we're generally in a good space. Oversupplies have been mopped up, building activity starting to grow again in response to, in many areas, shortages of supply of stock. And the estate agent sector, for those who remained after the big slump post the boom, life I think can generally be said to be good. Going forward, however, I would caution against expecting too much. I think that realistically, at the pace the Reserve Bank is hiking interest rates, we shouldn't see too much negative, perhaps a further slowing in growth in demand. But when I say slowing in growth, I don't mean necessarily a decline in demand, just a slowing in the growth rate. And I think what the slow pace of interest rate hiking does is just to keep the market sane, rational, and just behaving in a responsible manner. And by that I mean the speculative activity gets kept out of the market by and large. Speculators typically use cheap money to climb in and make big short-term capital gains in a short period of time, and then they sell the property again. That was the case back in 2004 and 2005 on a large-scale basis. I think rate hiking just scares off the speculators, which I think is good. And it also just keeps the buyer panic from setting in. Buyer panic is when aspirant first-time buyers start to believe that if they don't buy now, we'll never be able to afford it in future because price growth is so rapid. It's far from rapid at the current stage. It's nice single-digit figures. So I don't think there's any need for buyer panic, which can also cause market overshoots. So all in all, a very healthy market, a very well-balanced market, but certainly not a market that can be said to be booming with 30%, 40% price growth like 10 years ago. And that's the way I'd like it to stay. It's not really healthy for it to boom like that and develop into a speculative bubble. We know from past experience that those bubbles generally end in big crashes, big slumps, and generally end in tears.